Okay guys, good morning. So this is something I like to do. I'm kind of going to recap and redo one problem. That way you can go back to it and view it in case I went a little too fast during class time. So we talked about ratios. Okay, we said that ratios was comparing two numbers. We said that a ratio can be used by the symbols. So let's say you have a number A to B. You can use the words A to B, or you can even use a fraction, A over B. Today, we focused on the first way, right? By using that colon sign. So I'm going to look at the first problem. So I am comparing circles to squares. So if I look over here at my drawing, I'm going to shade in all of the circles first. Now, reason I'm doing circles first is because on here it says circles first. So if I count the number of circles, I have 5 circles. Now I'm going to go to the number of squares. So now I have squares. So I'm going to look at the squares. I count my squares and I have 3 squares. I had 5 circles and 3 squares. So that means my number is going to be 5 to 3. Every time I get a ratio, I want to see if I can simplify it. So I'm going to simplify it. You can do it on the side or you can do it in here. Let me do it on the side. So I'm going to simplify it over here on the side. I'm going to make my t-chart and I'm going to put 5 and I'm going to put 3. So I'm going to ask myself, what two numbers can get me to 5 if I multiply? So I start with 1 times 5. All right, so I'm going to go to 2. 2 times something, no. 3 times something, no. 4 times something, no. 5, it's back to 5 times 1. So I'm going to go to 3. What two numbers can I multiply to get 3? 1 times 3. Now, that's it. There's no other numbers that I can multiply to get to 3. And I have no numbers that are uncommon except for 1, but 1 doesn't really count. So that means my ratio stays the same. I don't do anything. I cannot simplify it. It's already as simplified as it gets. So now let's go to the next one. Now the next one says squares to circles. So the other one said circles to squares. Now this one is saying squares to circles. So I flipped the order, right? The order is now the other way around. So because the order is the other way around, my numbers are switched the other way around. So now I'm going to put 3 to 5. This right here represents circles. This right here represents squares. Back to this. This represents squares. And this represents circles. Okay? So I'm going to draw my tape diagram. My tape diagram, I'm comparing circles and squares. So I'm going to go back to my pictures. How many circles do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 circles. So I'm going to draw a box with 5 units. Now my squares. I have 3 squares. So I'm going to draw a box with 3 units. So I have 5 and I have 3. All right, now let's go to the next one. I am now comparing hearts to faces. So let me go to my hearts. Let me count all my hearts. I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have 4 hearts. How many faces do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 faces. So I'm going to put 4 to 6. Okay, hearts comes first. So I'm going to do hearts first and then my faces. Now, simplify. That's always going to be something you do. You don't ever not have to simplify. So I have 4 and I have 6. I'm going to go with 4. What numbers can give me 4 when I multiply? I have 1 times 4. Now I can do 2 times 4. Sorry, not 4. 2 times 2. And that's it. That's all I have. So I'm going to go to 6. I have 1 times 6. I have 2 times 3. And that's it. So I'm going to see which numbers are the same on both 4 and 6. Which factors are the same in 4 and 6? I have 2 and I have 2. So that leaves me with 2 and 3. So if I simplified 4, that gives me 2, right? If I were to divide 4 by 2, I get 2. If I simplified 6, now I look over here, right? When I divided 6 by 2, I get 3, right? So it's like if I were to do this, divided by 2, divided by 2. And I'm dividing 2 because 2, remember 2 was my greatest common factor. So let me go over here to the next one. So now I am comparing faces to hearts. I switched it around. So first I had hearts to faces. Now I have faces to hearts. So my numbers switch to now 6 to 4. Okay, faces comes first, hearts comes second. Now I have to simplify. So when I simplified, looking at the other one, and I divided it by 2, okay, and as you can tell, I like to use color. 6 divided it by 2 gave me 3. When I divided 4 by 2, that gave me 2. So notice how they're very, very similar. The only thing that changed is the order, because like I had you write in your notes, order matters. So my tape diagram. Let me do my hearts first, and then I'll do my faces. Now, I can do my tape diagram using the 6 and the 4, but it's so much easier to use your simplified version. So if I use my simplified version, my hearts is represented by 2, and my faces was represented by 3. And that is my tape diagram. Hopefully this kind of clears it up for you guys if you are still struggling a little bit in class. If you still have questions, you can always message me.